What's going on, guys? On today's video we're going to be talking about the Zero Tolerance 0801. This specific model is titanium. From what I've seen, there are a couple of other models shown on the Blade HQ website, but this one seems to be discontinued on Blade HQ. I haven't checked Knife Center, but I know that this is no longer being offered on the Zero Tolerance website either. So I'm going to go ahead and read the specs for you. That way you guys can better understanding size-wise as well of this knife. So overall length is going to be 8.20 inches. Blade length is going to be 3.5 inches. Blade thickness is going to be 0.16 inches. Blade material is S35VN on this guy. Blade style is going to be a drop point. And we're going to have a flat grind on this guy. And this has a stone wash finish on the blade. Next, we're going to see the edge type. It's going to have a plain edge. Handle length is going to be 4.70 inches. Handle thickness is 0.56 inches. And handle material is also going to be titanium on this guy. And as you can tell, it has these 5 holes on this one side to kind of lighten the handle. Weight on this guy is going to be 5.85 ounces. This can be geared to left or right-handed people. The clip is just held in by 2 T15s, it looks like. Don't quote me on that, I can't remember. But nonetheless, pocket clip is you can use it on either side of your choosing. Pocket clip type is going to be tip up. Me personally, I don't really care tip up or tip down. Honestly, I just leave it stock as is. So if it's pointing up, it's pointing up. If it's pointing down, it's pointing down. I just don't tend to really care about that argument. As far as knife type goes, it is going to be a manual flipping opening. It does have a flipper on this guy. What I've noticed and what I like a lot about this specific flipper is that I don't know if you guys can tell, but it is rounded at this top end, and it is also textured, or has some jimping, if you will, that make it for a smooth action in terms of opening the knife. Lock type on this guy is going to be a frame lock, so it is pretty nice. I have had some issues with this frame lock though. Biggest thing that I've noticed while using this is if you open it really hard or fast, this frame lock tends to kind of get stuck underneath the blade, and it is just a pain in the butt to get it unlocked. There are times where I've had to use my fingers to kind of dig underneath the frame lock itself, and I've had to pull it out with all 4 fingers. That's how bad it gets. But you know, it doesn't happen as often. Like I said, the only times I've seen it happen is when you really flick it and open it. So it's gotten a little better, but regardless, that is an issue that I've ran into with this frame lock. Company is obviously going to be Zero Tolerance. Model is 0801. Designer, this is a Todd Rexford design. It says Rexford design right there. Made in the USA. So now that we have the specs out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about this knife. So I've had this knife for about 2.5 years now, probably closer to 3. This thing has seen a lot of pocket time in my pocket. It has quickly grown to one of my favorites, favorite ZTs actually. I have a couple, but plan on getting more down the road. Definitely some lint down there. You can see these, has these 3 bars right in the back, and other than that, that's pretty much it in terms of having a back. There's really no back at all to this knife. You know, weight, I did mention earlier, was 5 ounces, so this isn't the lightest knife in my collection. It's no Benchmade bug out by any means, but you know, you'll definitely feel this thing in your pocket. I've kind of nicknamed this thing the Tank because this is a big boy. I mean, I have large hands, so I'm quickly finding out that, you know, the mini versions of knives that are coming out, that, you know, Spyderco has a mini bug out, you know, Spyderco has a Paramilitary 3, etc. You know, I'm quickly finding out that I'm not a big fan of those smaller knives. You know, I do wear large to extra large gloves sometimes, so I don't have small hands. And, you know, this fits the bill pretty perfect, in my opinion. As you can tell, it does have some machining on both sides right here. This does add some texture to the handles. I will say it's nothing too crazy to notice about. It doesn't give you any extra grip. It is a pretty smooth texture, but nonetheless, I can get a pretty firm grip on this knife overall. And this guy also comes with a lanyard hole. I'm not the biggest fan of lanyards on knives, but should you want to have that option, it's right there. A little bit about the blade on here. It says the model 0801 Ti, which stands for titanium. You know, made in the USA. Steel type is S35VN, and it is a Rexford design. And here it actually has the serial number 4999. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's pretty cool. You know, pretty subtle in terms of, you know, not advertising ZT everywhere on the knife. So pretty sweet little guy. Just have a ZT logo on this side. As far as the pocket clip goes, it's pretty standard. It's not a deep carry pocket clip, but it's pretty close. It does have a pretty long clip, which is really nice. I've actually broken one of these clips already, I think a year or 2 ago. I don't even know how, but I'll try and find the pictures of it. Never really figured out what happened with that, but nonetheless, I contacted the customer service at ZT, and they took care of me. They sent out a brand new clip pretty quick, so their customer service is pretty awesome, pretty quick, and you know, no BS, no questions asked really. They covered it for me, so I appreciate it. Like I said, guys, this thing is a tank. As you can tell right here, there's a little bit of a more machining in terms of, I guess, lightening, if you will. Never really found out what the use is for. My hand doesn't really notice that when I grip it around either. So other than that, overall, pretty great knife. Overall, like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to go ahead and mention the cons first and then the pros. In my opinion, Zero Tolerance has kind of backed away from making knives. I feel like ever since 2020, they haven't really came out with too many knives. I know that they came out with a collection or a series either during COVID or right after COVID. But most of those knives were, in my opinion, not what ZT used to be. You know, this is a hard working knife. I work at a retail store, so I've broken down cardboard with this. I've cut through twine, packing tape, cardboard, you know, and this thing still holds an edge. Granted, it probably does need to get sharpened, but you know, I think the direction that ZT is going in terms of making knives is not the best. I'm not really attracted to their newer knives as I was their older knives. So that's kind of one con. You know, they're not really active on social media either. I mean, they've posted maybe a handful or two of posts since 2020, I think. So I don't know what's going on with them. If you guys know why they, I guess, aren't posting as much or aren't coming out with as much knives as they used to, let me know. I'd be pretty interested to kind of dig in on that and figure that out. Next thing is the pocket clip. I was pretty disappointed that, you know, a year or a year and a half into owning this knife, you know, the pocket clip broke. This one hasn't broken on me since. You know, I can't really knock it, but I did have to mention that it did break. So next thing, like I had mentioned earlier, is this frame lock. This frame lock can be a pain in the butt. I don't know if you can tell, but I literally just pushed it all the way forward. This is what tends to happen when I flick the knife open really hard. It just kind of tends to, I guess, over travel. And, you know, you're not really, I mean, I've broken it in now to the point where it's not as hard for me to get it unstuck. But there was a point where again, like I had mentioned, I just had to pry it with all 4 fingers to, you know, get it out to be able to manually unlock it and, you know, store it away. So last con that I can think of off the top of my head is the blade centering on this guy. Like I said, I've used it a crap ton. I've abused this thing. This isn't really a con, but if you look at it, the center of the blade versus it in the frame is, you know, pulling to the right a little bit. I'm gonna have to go back in and tweak this, that way the blade is centered. But I have had to readjust this about 3 to 4 times over the years, just because I do notice that every now and then. So, you know, that's pretty much it. Off the top of my head, I think I paid around $200 for this guy. Again, that was about 2 years ago. So, yeah, that was about a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago. I'm looking at Blade HQ's website right now on the ZT0801 carbon fiber copperhead. That one is showing a price of $320. That one has carbon fiber grips and it has a copperhead color and coating on it. So those little extra add-ons might be why it's more expensive than this guy. But again, like I said, these guys are discontinued. They're no longer available. I didn't see them on Blade HQ or Knife Center, but overall, guys, this thing is a tank. I'm so happy I bought it. I remember when I first came across this on Blade HQ, I kept looking at it and I was a little hesitant. You know, I thought it was going to be too big. You know, I thought it was going to be too bulky, and it's a good median in terms of being a big knife. Again, that's why I call it a tank. This thing is not light by any means. It's not, you know, don't expect the lightness of a bug out, if you will. Like I said, guys, it's a tank. If you do see it or get a chance to buy it, I'd highly recommend buying one. This thing just kind of reminds me of the Beretta 92X Performance in terms of, you know, it's a heavy gun and it's gonna run, and you can, you know, use it and abuse it as much as you want, but that thing is never gonna break or, you know, give you any issues. This is what it reminds me of. So anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a comment down below. Let me know if you have this knife. Let me know if you like it. If you learned something, let me know. Or if there are any other knives that you guys want me to review, please comment down below. I would love to be able to do that for you guys. And also, if you own one of these knives, let me know what serial number you are. I'm kind of curious to find the other serial numbers. So thanks again, guys, for watching. I really appreciate it. Also, try and follow me on my social media. I will be posting a lot of pictures of upcoming knife reviews, so get a sneak peek there. I'll link it down below. And thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.